All right, so question today is how much money is enough money, right? So when it comes down to it, a lot of people don't really have an answer for this, right? Is there such thing as too much money? Absolutely is. Now, there have been times in my life, right, where I was making far less than I'm making today. I was less successful. There was even times where there was moments in my life where I was less driven. Now, mom instilled in me a drive for success and a drive for independence and a drive to reach and attain more than what I've got. No matter where I'm at, there's always more. And there was moments in time where I kind of lost a whole lot, like I lost sight of that. I lost the grip, right? Because we all get in these places where we get too comfortable, you know? Whether it be in your relationships, your romantic relationships, your friend relationships, your job relationships, we get comfortable, okay? It's not as often in a romantic relationship because typically when you're in a romantic relationship, like you meet someone, you're dating someone, as things progress, this is someone you want to marry, things like that. Then you see things in a different light because you want more for them or you want more for yourself so you can be better for them. It doesn't happen that way when you're dealing with other kinds of relationships though, right? And see, the other aspect of a romantic relationship that develops into marriage is you got kids, right? As you have kids, well, there's more bills. You know, kids are expensive. Kids cost money. School costs money. The things you need to put them through school, the things, and I'm just talking about kindergarten, okay? When you break it down to the basic level. Diapers, man. I mean, like literally vacations. Things cost money, okay? So when you're in that spot, there's kind of never enough money. Like it just doesn't seem like there's never enough, right? So when you're looking at something like that and you're like, well, there's never enough. Well, compared to something like I said, your friends or your colleagues, right? You get into a place of comfort where you're like, you don't want to step away from the job you're in. You get comfortable there. You get comfortable there and there's a ceiling. In most companies, there's a ceiling. Now, not in every company. And it also depends on what kind of company you are. And it also depends on what you're willing to endure. Okay? I've known a lot of small companies that were started, you know, a mom and pop type place, you know? And now if you come into this company when it's at the ground floor, right? You come in day one, then the reality is you're gonna have to endure certain things because ultimately you're not gonna get paid what you could get paid elsewhere. But if you're with this company as they grow, first thing, you're gonna learn things with them, right? But secondly, you're gonna have that potential of growth with them that another company is gonna put a cap on your growth. Because they're already an established company. They're established, they're solidified, they've got their place in society, in their market, in their niche, whatever. And when you are just a hired employee, right? So of course you have potentials for raises or bonuses or things like that. You know, you can earn benefits, things like that. There's all the, and I'm, you know, not every company offers these things, but I'm just saying these are the potentials, right? Okay, so I'm putting it out there. This is what you can potentially get by being an employee for one of those companies. Whereas when you're starting with a ground up company, you know, when you're starting at the ground floor, they don't have those things to offer you, right? When you go into there, like I said, they're going to put a cap because they're already solidified. They're a company. You're a body that's going to fill a skill, that's going to fill a position, that's going to fill a time slot. So they're going to put a cap on what they're going to give you. Now, these people from the ground floor, as they're growing up, right, then they're going to see the value in you because you were there with them from day one. So you're going to potentially solidify a spot with them for a longer term, right? And you're going to solidify, like through that longevity and through that loyalty, you're going to solidify your value to them. Now, I've been in places where I started with this question was, how much money is enough money? It all comes down to perspective. It all comes down to how you see things, what you need, right? Because I've been in places where I got comfortable. I got comfortable at a job. I enjoyed the people I was working with. I really loved going to work. Man, I loved going to work. I loved meeting with my people and doing the job that I did. And some of them weren't even the best jobs either, but I was content there. And we allow ourselves to overlook our own potential when we get too comfortable. Comfortability can be the biggest hindrance to greater success. It truly can. Because you're going to forgo that potential money, that potential better position, that potential opportunity because you're comfortable where you're at, right? I was growing a business, right? I was growing a business. It was really growing. I really saw it growing, right? And me and Kimberly got married. Man, life was good. I met this amazing woman. She's so beautiful, so smart, just awesome. I met her at church. You know, everything about it was great. I was just over the moon thrilled, right? My business started growing. It was great. I had this opportunity to go work with her, and we worked. I was doing contract labor for a company. She was a contracted company. She was contracted. I was contracted, but we're both working together. That was super cool for me and my fiance to be working together. And then, like, after we got married, we continued working there together for, you know, a few months. It was really awesome. Then we had our little boy Corey on the way, right? And I had started growing my business more. And my business was actually growing. It was really cool because I had gotten comfortable. Before that, I was working multiple jobs and I was bringing in a good amount of money. Well, actually, it honestly wasn't even that good amount. It was just enough. But I was happy doing what I was doing, so I didn't question the money. So how much money is too much money? Too much money is enough money that you don't question how much you're making, that you're comfortable. And it comes back to your maturity level also. See, I've been in a spot multiple times in my life. Oh gosh, even, you know, longer, 15 years before I met Kimberly. Let's go back to the early 2000. And early 2000, late 90s, I was comfortable. I wasn't worried. I was immature. I had this drive. Like I said, from the time I was a kid, the time I was a teenager, I had this drive and this ambition. I knew I was going to do all these great things. My mom instilled in me that she doubted herself frequently, but she never once doubted me. She never doubted me. She never doubted me. She never doubted Jason. She never doubted my sister, my brother Jason, my sister Kyla. Like, she never doubted us. She believed that there was nothing that was out of our range. Like, nothing was unattainable for us. And it was like interesting perspective because I didn't understand it as a kid because she never even pushed us. She never said, oh, you have to go to college. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to get that kind of job. Because she just knew we were going to figure it out. She knew we were going to figure it out. She knew we were going to make the decisions that were best for us. And she just tried to encourage us. Now, there was times where, you know, obviously, we're young people. We're making mistakes. We're careless. You know, I made mistakes. My brother made mistakes. My sister made mistakes. And mom, being a good mom, what'd she do? She would tell us, right? She'd be like, are you sure that things are okay? Not judgmental. She was cool. We were blessed with an amazing woman as a mom. So she would encourage us, right? She'd be like, are you sure that you're on the right track? Are you sure what you're doing? I got in business with my uncle for a little bit, and she was like, are you sure this is what you need to be doing? Are you sure you're happy doing this? Are you sure that you and him aren't damaging your family relationship and that y'all are both getting out of this what you should be and what you want to be? Are you sure? Are you sure? That she always posed it as a question because she wanted us to decide for ourselves, you know? When I went to college, I was going to college and I was working full time, and mom asked me multiple times, are you doing okay? Are you doing okay? Is your school too heavy? Is your work too heavy? Are you being able to manage all of this? Is there anything I can do to help? And I was working and growing a business. I was working full-time, growing a business, and going to school full-time. It was insane. I never breathed. And then I even took a second job. I was working full-time as a head cook at a cafe, and I was I was tutoring math at the community college for about 15 hours a week on the side. And in addition to that, I was growing a business on the side. I was reselling. I was hustling. And so she would often ask me, like, what can I do to help? What can I do? And see, for me at the time, I was just like, it was just a grind. It's just what I did. Every day I was doing something. I'd wake up and I'd be like, okay, it's time to study. I got a project due tomorrow. I need to work on it. I got a final next week. I better crack a book. I got a test, it's like, it was just kind of, that's how I did it. Oh, okay, well, I don't got a test today. I don't got a final or a paper due right now. So now's an opportunity. Maybe I should go hit the thrift stores or whatever, and I should hustle. I should sling some stuff so I can get some products so I can make a little cash and keep moving forward. Okay, well, Friday and Saturday, I got to hit the restaurant. I was pulling, like 16-hour shifts, right? It was crazy. I was working from early in the afternoon. I'd come in at 2 or 3 in the afternoon sometimes. Sometimes I wouldn't get off till 5, 6 in the morning, right? And I was getting all my hours between Thursday and Saturday at the restaurant. So that way I could continue to tutor in between classes. I mean, my life was a grind. It was just never-ending grind. But the reality is it's crazy because my bills weren't super high, but I always budget was kind of always tight. And I was never not working. It was just kind of a weird time, and it was because of my lack of maturity. At the time, I was making, because of how I was working, because of the 2 jobs and the side hustle, it's like I was making too much money with my low maturity level and with my lack of drive that I'd kind of lost at that point for a time being. I'd kind of lost that drive and I'd taken a step back. And so I was kind of just coasting comfortably through life, so to speak, right? I was just living, and I was just like, this is fine, right? It's okay. And it wasn't, because I look back now and I'm like, if I had the mentality today, or back then, that I do have today, I mean, I could have really, 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 I could have walked out of school without all those student loans. On top of that, I had student loans, paying for my tuition, paying for my books. I was like, it's not like I, did all this work so that way I had my brilliant, beautiful, wonderful wife. She was working, hustling hard. She was hustling hard, running her own business so that way she could pay for her nursing school. She's got a little bit of student loan, but not even a fraction of what I got. And it's because, she did go to nursing school, and I went to the University of Texas. And the University of Texas is absolutely crazy expensive, but it wasn't really because of that. It wasn't because it was crazy expensive. It was because I wasn't wise with my money. I wasn't. Like I said, Kimberly was hustling, but she had a handful of clients, She had a handful of clients, one of which was nearly a full-time job on its own, and she had a few others, but, I was never not working. And yes, Kimberly made bank. I'm super proud of her. She's so brilliant, and she knew how to, get that done as well. But see, I just did it wrong. That's what it comes down to. I just did it wrong. So too much money or not enough money all comes down to perspective. That's what it is. Too much money or not enough money comes down to perspective. And it comes down to financial maturity and a level of financial education. I advise every one of y'all to just take some time to really take stock of your personal budget and see personally. Because if you can't, it's one of those things. Some people actually are fairly good at managing their business, but they can't manage their personal. Some people are good at managing their personal, but they can't manage their business. And because it's two different kinds of things, but sometimes what the big conflict is, what really holds people back, and honestly held me back for a time, is you don't keep them separate. And see, I knew better. I mean, I remember working with my uncle and telling him, hey, what are you doing, man? Keep your business and your personal finances separate. But at the same time, I didn't keep mine separate. Why would I? I got this under control, but I didn't. That's the thing. And see, I fell short, not just because of what I didn't know, but because of also the things that I did know that I just didn't enforce the discipline to make sure that they were happening and taking place in my own life. I coached lots of people and I consulted with lots of people on their, some people with their personal finances, even though personal finance isn't exactly my wheelhouse. It's absolutely something I can help with, but I coached a lot more with business. And when I coached and consulted with business, it's interesting to me how I can look back at the mistakes I made in businesses I had when I was really young, and I can see where I didn't implement the same things I told other people to implement. And see, and that comes back from lack of discipline, but it also comes down to something that a lot of people struggle with, which you tie your emotions into your own things, right? Some people aren't good at handling their own finances because they're emotionally tied to their money. They're emotionally tied to their business. They're emotionally tied to the things they want to do with their budget, right? Can't help it. You're emotionally driven to want to go on a vacation. You're emotionally driven to want to choose what you want to eat. You're emotionally driven to do all these different things. So as you're driven emotionally by all these different things that are in your personal life, those emotions are going to sometimes cloud your overall better judgment. Now, you may know good and well, oh, man, come on, man. I set a budget. I mapped it all out. I wrote down everything I needed, everything I was going to get for this month. And I said, well, this week I'm going to get this much and I'm going to spend this much. And this is where it's all going to, you itemize everything. You did thorough calculations, making sure down to the penny, man. You know what you're going to spend this month. And you know that, hey, I'm going to have this much left over this week. I'm going to have this much left over this week. And each week you have this little bit that's left over and you're like, okay, that's my money, right? And say this week you had $60 left over. But when it came down to it, brand new pair of kicks hit the market, man. Gosh, 120 bucks. That's double what your spending money is. I can make it up. It'll be all right, right? I can make it up. Next week, I'll have like $50 extra. And the following week, I'll have even more. So over next week and the week after, I'll make it up, right? You tell yourself that. That's a horrible thing to do. You tell yourself that. And then after you spend double, then you're sitting there thinking, man, I'm really hungry. And I don't really have what I want in the house. Could I order some like DoorDash, right? Could I like run to McDonald's and grab me something? Man, there's this soup place right over there. I love soup. It's cold outside. It's perfect time for, it's soup weather, man. They make this killer soup over there. I said, I got to go get soup. And you rationalize it with yourself. You tell yourself, how can I not eat, right? I got to eat. A man's got to eat, so I got to go get it, right? Because it's snowing outside, man. I need some good soup, right? So you rationalize it with yourself instead of remembering the importance of sticking to that. But now I'm telling you, this was my downfall way back in the day. It was mine. It's been yours. It's been so many of ours. It's the biggest downfall of so many of us. It really is. And it's crazy that this is how it goes down, but it is. And I can sit here saying this and it sounds ridiculous. And you can even sit here listening to me and you can be like, man, I've done that. But why did I do that? That was so stupid. It's not stupid, man. It's not. It's lack of discipline. It's careless at times. It's not stupid. It's just being driven by your emotions. You allow your emotions to take over and it affects your money. Money's not emotional. At the end of the day, that's what you got to remember. You got to remember money's not emotional. You can't get emotional about it. What you really got to, if I'm speaking to someone who's looking at their personal finances, you just got to be disciplined so you can get ahead. And you got to start allowing and planning in your budget. You've got to plan in your budget for money that you can invest. and like kind of get some money out there, even a little bit, get some money out there to start working for you so you can start making more, right? Whether you start a side hustle, you invest in stocks, you invest in this, you invest in your buddy's business, and you get like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I don't care. It doesn't matter. This is a forum that I'm trying to tell you that it's not about what you invest in, but it's more importantly, how you invest. And that you absolutely invest in something. Like I said, maybe you know somebody with a business and you can invest and help them out. You help them out, you get a little residual, you get some, you know, royalties or perpetuity, or you get some, a stake in the company, whatever it is, help them out and help yourself out. Maybe you want to invest in stocks. Maybe you want to invest in crypto. Maybe you want to do some trading. I advise that if you're not educated in these areas, consult someone who knows. Don't just willy-nilly try to do it yourself, because you don't want to burn through your hard-earned cash. Your money, you earned it. And like I said, you should absolutely not be emotional about it, but you should protect it. You should preserve it. It took your blood, sweat, and tears to get it. Hold on to it. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, and even if you're not, ultimately, any and everybody out there. Now, if you're just working a regular 9 to 5, it may take you a bit longer, but ultimately, every single person that's watching this video, your goal should be to go to bed tonight with more money than you woke up with. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's the goal. You got to have more money than you woke up with. So you wake up, you got X amount of dollars. You go to bed, you better have X plus 2. That's what it is. You just gotta keep growing. That's the idea. And it's not greed, it's not shallow, it's perspective. And like I said, when it comes down to it, how much money is too much money? Too much money is when you're too comfortable. Don't rest, man. Don't get yourself so comfortable that you forget. Now, if you've got the dream job, I was talking with somebody on TikTok earlier this morning. If whatever it is you're doing, if you've landed that job, maybe your goal was to be a doctor. Maybe your goal was to be just this rock star of a mechanic, right? You just love cars. And if you could just, there's this place in Texas. There's a place back in Texas, and these guys are crazy. They literally sell merchandise and stuff, OCD, old car disease. These guys are cool. And they live their dream every day. They restore old cars. Like, I mean, old cars. I mean, from the early, like the earliest cars, 1930s, 1940s. I mean, they got some old cars out there, right? But that's their dream, man. They love it. And they'll sell you junkyard hoopties, but they will restore them for you. If whatever it is that's your dream, right? If you're living it, good for you, man. Absolutely. Get comfortable in that spot. But know there's more for you. There's always more. So you can get a side hustle. You can invest. You can grow something else for your family. Now, if your goal was to open a cafe, let's say you're just a cook. Just a cook. You know? I had a guy I used to work with. We slung hash together at a cafe, man. We slung hash. It was not chef stuff. It was slinging hash. But his dream was to open a restaurant. He was like, one day, I want to be a chef. You know? And that's the thing. So if your goal is to open your own restaurant or open your own barbershop, something like that, you know what I'm saying? I know that guy too. Incredible guy named John in Austin. Austin, Texas. You ever in Austin, Texas, you want to get that fade lined up? Go by and see my homeboys at Skinny's. Skinny's Barbershop. They're incredible. Best barbers in town, man. I'm telling you, I've been a few places. They're the best barbers I've ever met, man. I'm telling you. John owns the place, and there's a bunch of great barbers there. Tiny, Matt's my homeboy. Sergio, there's lots of great guys, man. Tasha. Anyways, this is a shout out to Skinny's. But for real, if that's your dream, right? Then go get it. Go open up your barbershop. Go open up your cafe. Go open up your restaurant. Go do that thing, right? And then if you're at that point, then it doesn't have to end there. You can say, well, now I've accomplished my dream, but what can I get developing on the side, right? What can I do over here that's one step farther than what I got? Maybe I could branch out and open 2 cafes or 2 barbershops, or I can open my second mechanic shop, right? Or maybe that's not your goal. Maybe you don't want to have that much. Maybe you just want to do this, but you need to start generating some more cash flow on the side. How can you do that? You know what I'm saying? There's lots of different ways. You can generate merchandise for your shop. That brings in money. Like I said, the OCD, Skinnies carries merchandise for their barbershop. It's like you can get some merch. You can do things like that. Put things on social media. Make you some extra money. You can always find more ways to generate more cash flow. And that's what you got to do. Too much money isn't about a number. It's about a perspective. And if you got the wrong perspective, you ain't focused, you ain't driven in the right direction, or if you're not financially savvy, or you're not mature on a financial level. Like I said, there was multiple times I was making money. I was making lots of money, working 2, 3. There was one time I was even working 4 jobs and had a side hustle. And you know what I got to show for it? I got nothing, dog. I got nothing. I got nothing to show for that time in my life. And I just posted a TikTok about this earlier. Like, it's interesting because people will sit there and say, well, that's just living your life, man. You earn that money. You should spend it. You should enjoy it. You should live life and, you know, let that money, you know, that's what it's for, right? Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with spending. And I can look back and there's things that's like, oh, yeah, man, I remember that summer that I spent like a month traveling and I hit, you know, Indiana, Ohio. I hit, you know, a bunch of different places. I hit the beach. I hit down in the coast. I spent a whole, like several weeks. It was incredible. It was a great summer. And I spent a good amount of money on that. But then there's other times where I'm like, what did I do? What did I really do besides work, go grab some food, hang out with my homeboys, and go grab some more food? And I got what to show for that money? I got nothing. I got more to show of these last, man, over this last decade, since me and Kimberly are approaching our 10-year anniversary, this last decade, I got more to show for my accomplishments than I ever had before that. And like I said, sometimes when you get married, you change your perspective. Sometimes, a lot of times you start thinking about things differently. And see, me and Kimberly, we came into this relationship and we had to start looking at things differently. Like, we instantly had our first son, you know? Within a year, we had our baby boy. And then within a year later, we had our second baby boy. And so we had a lot of expenses coming in, and it started changing our perspective about things. You know, life and death, and we've seen multiple family members pass. That changes our perspective on things. Like I said, you get comfortable with your homeboys. You get comfortable with your friends and your colleagues, your coworkers. You get comfortable in a spot where you stop thinking about your money and you stop thinking about the drive. You stop thinking about that ambition. You stop thinking about what's in it for tomorrow besides where I'm at. Man, I'm cool, man. We having a good time. We just chilling right here. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. This is what I did today. This is what I'm going to do next week. And you just get in that spot, and it's like you forget you were seeking more, and you lost it. So I want to encourage you a couple of things. First, take a step back and look at your finances. See where they're at. Are you managing them as best as you could? Are you really getting the most out of all your hard-earned time and efforts? And are you really utilizing those funds properly? Second, whatever your drive and ambition was, maybe it's changed. So I want you to take stock of where you're at, where you see yourself, and then I want you to reflect on where you were and what you saw yourself, where you did see yourself now. Like, you're like, man, 5 years ago, I thought I was going to be doing, oh yeah. Are you on track? Have you changed courses? If you change courses, good for you. That's fine. Lots of people do. If you change courses, good for you. But are you still on track with the new course that you picked? How can you better manage your money and manage your time to stay on track for what's next? like I said, these are just some things I want you to think about so you can position yourself in a better place. When it comes down to it, there's not really a such thing as too much money. There's not really a such thing as not enough money. There's just a mismanagement and a maturity level and an education level on your finances of whether you're taking what you've been blessed with, what you've worked hard for, what you fought with your fingernails, your hands, you put everything, your blood, sweat, and tears into getting something. And are you using it? Or are you letting it dwindle away? All right, it's your boy, Corey B. I got nothing but love and respect for all of y'all. I hope y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding your bell, get your notifications. Y'all make sure to follow and stay tuned, man. I got so much more coming at you. And if y'all got some comments, y'all got something y'all want to talk about, y'all got something that I need to elaborate on, or that maybe you think that I need to consider in a different light, leave your comments below. I appreciate everybody who's reached out to me on TikTok and everybody's reached out to me on Twitter and Instagram. Even some people through email, but feel free to hit me up anytime right below. Let's open that dialogue up so more and more people can discuss this openly with each other. Conversations need to be had. All right, until next time, it's your boy. I got love for y'all. Let's get cocky, man. Let's go get it done. I'm out.